Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Mary Mother of Hope Parish puts on a Christmas classic. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story next.
I'm Julie Bullier. I'll tell you about some fun holiday activities happening in our area.
And a look back at the special place where it all began. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel as we come to you from the residence of our Bishop, Mitchell Rosansky. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas day, and as we continue to celebrate the Christmas season, our program today features both new stories and some of our favorites from Christmases past, as well as several beautiful musical performances. And we begin today with a production of last week's classic holiday favorite, A Christmas Carol. Parishioners of Mary Mother of Hope Parish in Springfield were definitely in the Christmas spirit as they came together for this production that not only entertained, but evangelized. Carolee McGrath has our story.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. God save you.
Rick Shattuck takes the audience at Mary Mother of Hope Parish in Springfield back in time, playing Ebenezer Scrooge in Charles Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol.
What right do you have to be married? Poor enough.
Come then.
Rick looks at home on the stage, but believe it or not, this is his debut performance.
I have absolutely no acting history at all. In high school, I played athletics.
Rick, a member of Mary Mother of Hope Parish, is an EMT. The father and grandfather thought he'd give acting a try.
Christmas time is my favorite time of the year. My wife came home with the flyer one day, said, "Why don't you give it a try?" The rest is history.
Parishioner Kathleen Gilhooly is the director.
We wanted to create an activity that would be useful for for bringing families together and bringing the parish together with a good activity that will be fun and also to fundraise for the parish.
The former teacher has directed several productions at Central High School and worked in other community theater groups.
It's a challenge for me because I'm used to dealing with middle school and high school age kids. Most of these adults have never acted before. Is part of the challenge, convincing them that they can do it, and they can. They're doing great.
Ben Gavoni, who played football at Cathedral, was cast as Bob Cratchit. Gavoni fit in memorizing his lines with his heavy course load at Western New England University, where he's studying to be a pharmacist.
I grew up in this church and I've been involved in all sorts of different things, from the parish picnic to plays to men's club to parish council, working my way up. So the only thing that I won't do is be the priest. That's the one thing that I'm going to draw a line at.
Deacon Al Muti was also recruited for the play. It's been quite a few years since Deacon Al was up on the stage.
That was the littlest Christmas tree in that famous play, The Littlest Christmas Tree. And all I had to do was stand inside of a paper tree. And I got so nervous that they sent me home because I broke out in rash. So, although I did play later in high school. But again, I couldn't remember any lines.
So now you're back. You resurrected
We're back.
your acting career and your three different parts.
Three different parts with different wigs.
Parishioners worked for months putting together the period costumes for the actors.
I shopped for all the jackets, all the scarves, all the little girls' clothes. Everything came from Savers. And then I turned it over to Carol, who then adjusted it by cutting it to make it look like a shirtwaist jacket.
The play was perfect for families with little kids, lasting just about an hour. And kids were also some of the stars.
I really like to talk and tell Martha to go hide in the kitchen.
So you have to tell Martha to go hide in the kitchen?
But sometimes I have to remind her it's okay.
But that's because you're her brother. You guys are twins, so you have to help each other out, right? Okay. 14-year-old Katana De Jesus is new to Mary Mother of Hope Parish.
I signed up for it because I haven't really been coming to this church for a while now, and I just figured, if I get into doing play, I'll get to know more people, so that way when I come to Mass and to CCD, it's not as awkward.
This is the first time the parish has ever put on a production like this, And not only is it a way to entertain and get people in the spirit, but it's also a way to evangelize.
A lot of people that maybe wouldn't normally come to church, we've been asking, gee, would you like to come see the play? And maybe some of these people that come in here and see the play and see, you know, about our church will decide to join. That's what we're hoping, of course.
Through their hard work, these parishioners are showing people the true meaning of Christmas. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Now for some fun Christmas activities that kids of all ages and varying abilities took part in Holyoke. Julie Bollier hops on board the Polar Express at Heritage Park and also takes us to a Christmas candlelight caroling at Jericho.
Dreams can come true. The spirit of Christ and the magic of Christmas lit up the city of Holyoke on December 19th. All it took was a restored 1938 dining car, a train conductor, a few costumes, some Christmas decorations, and a whole lot of lights. I'm about to board Heritage Park's first Polar Express train ride, sponsored by the Friends of Blessed Sacrament.
Tickets, please. Merry Christmas.
And I hear Santa's on board. Ann O'Connor, school principal, along with Tom Paquin, school board member, both coordinated the event.
Tom Paquin, he's on our school board, and he's one of the members of the Friends of Blessed Sacrament. He came up with the idea, he met with the engineer of the train, and then it just snowballed from there. You got your train ride, the cocoa, the cookies, the visit with Santa. Santa gave them a gift. They got the magic, I believe, bell coming off. And then you have free merry-go-rounds in the merry-go-round, and there's a photo booth for people to have their Christmas cards done. There's crafts. All the teachers are in there manning the craft tables, doing crafts with the children, and free popcorn, and the movie's also going on.
Ticket price for this all-inclusive event was $25 and open to the public. Second graders at Blessed Sacrament School say the event was a success.
I think it was really fun, actually.
And these girls have also learned the true meaning of Christmas.
Do you know why we celebrate Christmas?
Jesus' birthday. My favorite part is just spending time with my family.
Spending time with people you love, family, friends, and your faith community during the holidays reminds us that we are surrounded by God's love. People of varying abilities gathered that same evening for candlelight caroling at Jericho's Reverend Robert F. Wagner's Celebration Center in Holyoke.
We actually had a board meeting and talked about what could we do to actually mimic the Christmas prelude that has happened in other parts of New England. So Maine, Kennebunkport, Maine actually had a beautiful Christmas prelude that they've been doing for years. It's gotten bigger and bigger. So we thought we'd try to do that here on a small scale, start it this year, and work our way up.
Billy Shanahan has been attending masses and events at Jericho for the past 30 years and enjoyed the candlelight prelude.
I thought it was uplifting. I love to hear the story of the birth of Christ, and the way Danny and Carla presented it was beautiful. And I think it reminds me that Mary wrapped the very first Christmas gift.
Star of wonder, star of night.
Yes, Holy Mary did wrap the first Christmas present ever. Keeping the Christ in Christmas, this is Julie Boyer reporting for Reel to Reel in Holyoke.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Gale and your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy Christmas days and join us Sunday morning at 10. We welcome Monsignor Christopher Conley and local members of the Catholic Grandparents Association as we celebrate the Feast of the Holy Family. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News.
God really knew what God was doing in the Incarnation, sending the Word, promised Word, made flesh, as an infant. The year was 1223, 3 years before Francis died, and he had this feeling, it was almost like a compulsion, it seems, that he wanted to do something special, his biographer said, for Christmas, because he felt that the Christ child had been overlooked, forgotten, and he said he wanted to bring this home to people, and he got this idea to create what we now know as the creche, the very familiar nativity scene. Christ was reborn in the hearts of many who had forgotten him. And that's what Christmas is all about. That's why we go to all this trouble, why we decorate, why we bring in things that are green and still living and bring them in the midst of winter. Why? Because we want to allow the Christ child reborn in our hearts. This monastery was built in 1898, and it was built to do two things: encourage people to see for themselves the holy places. So we have replicas of every holy place where Jesus was. We have a replica of the Basilica of the Nativity with that star in the ground there that marks the place where Jesus was born in Bethlehem. If you go there, you have to get down on your hands and knees and kind of crawl in under this altar to venerate and kiss the place where Jesus was born. People who come here, it's our hope that they would consider making a pilgrimage to the Holy Land to see those sites and venerate those places.
A beautiful religious symbol of the holiday, and we should also mention that keeping this symbol alive is the San Damiano group and young people from the Basilica of St. Stanislaus. They will be hosting Greccio in Chicopee, a living nativity complete with live animals taking place at the Basilica of St. Stanislaus in Chicopee on Sunday, December 27th at 5 p.m. So if you're in the area, it's definitely an event that you will not want to miss. During this Christmas season, many people include a creche set in their decorations, and our next story first aired in December of 2014 when Peggy Weber visited a Hadley man who creates handmade creches. She discovered that this is much more than a project of wood and straw.
Stephen Barrett spent part of his youth in Germany as his military family moved around. He said he remembers the open stalls that sold wooden creche sets and figurines, and says that memory has stayed with him.
It was just something, the way they celebrated Christmas there, and it's just the alpine ambiance. I loved it.
However, Stephen did not become a woodcrafter upon his return to the United States. He came back to Western Mass after graduating from college. He met and married his wife Ruth, and together they have raised 4 adult children from their Hadley home. He said he thought about applying his skills to make creches and other items, but admitted his first attempt was a failure. Then, something wonderful happened.
My daughter Megan got a nice little porcelain one-piece Holy Family set. And I said, yeah, they need a home. So I decided to make a small one out of just thin plywood and some sticks.
Stephen says he figured out that the post and beam method of wood carving and joining was the best way to go. And suddenly, he was in business.
And then I decided to make another one, and then another one, and friends liked them. And then just after Christmas, I made my first real big one.
Stephen has gone on to make some beautiful creations. He has made many creches, several that are custom orders, and many that are of big proportions. He made one for a woman in Kentucky that was 3 feet high, 4 feet wide, and 1 foot deep. He also has made American replications of such places as the John Adams House, the Abyssinian Meeting House, and Conkey's Tavern.
I try to set everything up to be like a stage. That's why I concentrate more on building the buildings and setting the stage and letting the people decide what figurines they want to add to it.
However, Stephen says that his woodworking is much more than a career change. It was a lifesaver for him after he was diagnosed with bipolar depression. And his woodworking was a gift.
It brought me back to the Catholic Church. I had drifted from the church for a while. And I realized this is who I am. This is part of my culture, part of everything that, is about me.
Stephen said he also reflects on the significance of making a home for the Holy Family.
I'm not the greatest Catholic on earth. I'm not the lapse or anything, but you just have your moments. But when I'm working on the creches, I realize there's something bigger here. It's something that you can bring your troubles to. And you realize that, okay, I don't have a dime, I'm broke, or I'm right on the edge of it. And remember that there was a couple that traveled hundreds of miles on what they were told by an angel, on sheer faith, to go to Bethlehem. And they had nothing between them, not even directions.
The creche sets mean so much to Stephen, and he hopes that others will see these humble places made of wood and bring them to a deeper understanding of Christmas and the beauty of Christ's birth. For Reel to Reel, I'm Peggy Weber.
Hello, I'm Sharon Roulier from Reel to Reel.
And I'm Brother Terrence Scanlon from your Child of the Salvation program.
We'd like to wish you and yours a very blessed Christmas season.
All of us here at Catholic Communications greatly appreciate your ongoing faithful viewership and financial support of our ministry.
And also in a special way, your generous response to our current Christmas appeal. Thank you.
We are most grateful for your generous response.
And join us throughout the coming new year as we continue to bring you the good news into your homes each week. Merry Christmas and
a Happy New Year.
The Christmas season would not be complete without remembering the place where it all began, the Holy Land. Back in 2012, Catholic Communications led a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. Our former Reel to Reel reporter, Terry Haggerty, brings us back to some of the sites the pilgrims visited, which commemorate the birth of Jesus. By revisiting Nazareth and Bethlehem, we hope this piece will help celebrate the Christmas season in a very special way.
Bethlehem is no longer a little town. Today it is a bustling modern city, something the 27 pilgrims from the Diocese of Springfield's recent pilgrimage to the Holy Land found out firsthand. Celebrating Christmas this year will have added meaning for those pilgrims since they visited Bethlehem and Nazareth last October, seeing where the very first Christmas actually took place. On the first day of their trip, the pilgrims visited Nazareth, where the Christmas story began. The group celebrated Mass at the Basilica of the Annunciation.
I think it's fitting that today we begin our journey, our pilgrimage in Nazareth, where Our Lady first received the word of God through the angel Gabriel, if she would be the Mother of God. And her fiat, her yes to God, started this whole process.
The Basilica commemorates where the angel Gabriel appeared to the Blessed Virgin Mary. It was constructed over the cave house of Mary. Following the liturgy, pilgrims walked down the steps to view Mary's home. As the trip continued, the pilgrims traveled to the Basilica of the Nativity in Bethlehem, the oldest basilica in the Middle East. It houses the spot where Jesus came into the world. But in order to see that spot, one must pass through the door of humility. This doorway leading to the spot where Jesus was born is purposely restricted. Some say it was made this size so that people must bow low in reverence to the Lord. But in reality, it was made this size so that looters could not go in and out by horseback. There's plenty in the church to tempt looters too. A functioning church, it is adorned with numerous icons and scores of ornate hanging lanterns. A staircase awaits pilgrims as they may descend into the cave of the Nativity, where a silver star beneath a Greek altar marks the spot where Jesus was born. A Latin inscription reads, "Here the Word was made flesh." Adjacent to the star on the floor is an altar manger commemorating where the baby Jesus rested.
Bethlehem was truly amazing. To think that Christmas is there 365 days a year, in the sense that Christians and all people come to see this place where Jesus was born, the Nativity.
The pilgrims say that visiting Bethlehem was very moving.
The one place that really was extremely special to me was the Basilica of the Nativity, especially venerating the star in the crypt of the Basilica, and just seeing what a special and holy place that shrine has been for so many centuries.
In at least one regard, it's Christmas Day every day in Bethlehem. 365 days a year, when Mass is celebrated there, they use the Christmas readings and liturgical prayers.
And just to be there was really a beautiful experience for me and for many of the pilgrims. I know that they were moved by that experience.
At Christmas time, you go to midnight Mass, you enjoy all what you see, but then when you actually visit Bethlehem and you know what happened there, and you know in all your faith life that all of a sudden you now see the place where this actually happened.
The week-long pilgrimage was sponsored by Catholic Communications.
It's unbelievable. You can't really explain it in words. It's breathtaking. You're there and you're thinking, you know, he was born here. And there's a manger, there's a Star of David, and you're there, finally.
On a typical hot and humid October day in the Middle East, pilgrims also visited the nearby Shepherd's Field in Bethlehem. Here, shepherds were told of the Savior's birth on the very first Christmas.
But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior."
Here at Shepherd's Field in Bethlehem, it certainly doesn't feel like Christmas time as far as the weather is concerned, but the Christmas spirit is here all year long. Visiting Bethlehem, one of the holiest places in the world, the town of Jesus' birth, and Nazareth, has not only meant a great deal to the pilgrims at this time of year, but it has enriched those to whom they have returned, and with whom they can now share the Christmas message in a new way. Reporting for Reel to Reel, this is Terry Hegarty.
Some wonderful memories of the very special place where it all began. And that's our program for this week. Thanks so much for joining us, and thanks to Bishop Rosansky for providing our beautiful backdrop for this program. Remember, you can get the latest news on the Catholic Church in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world anytime online at iobserve.org, and also on our Facebook page at Catholic Communications. Please join me again next week at this same time for our first episode of 2016. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.